Hello everybody and welcome to round 7 of the 2021 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. We are here at my favourite Spanish track, Motorland Aragon, for the Teruel ePrix here in Spain. I am JW97 and I am joined today by Blake Moore.
Good afternoon everyone, slash evening. I am Blake Moore. So, Motorland Aragon, aka Joe's favourite track, which is definitely not biased to him at all.
Well, it's not my favourite track, but it is my favourite Spanish track. My favourite track in the world is Suzuka, but I do obviously love this track because, in my opinion, it should be the Spanish Grand Prix location. But that's an opinion for another time. But anyway, don't bring up my Nicole. Anyway, as you can see, we are here at Teruel. There is no rain expected for qualifying. Whether that will be an omen for the race, we'll have to wait and see. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, last time out at Estoril, it was a pretty entertaining race in the wet conditions. You, I think, were there for commentary, if I'm not mistaken, Blake, as well. And, well, it was quite an entertaining race with Marvo Koenig in the end, finally getting rid of his bad luck and finally getting his first win of the season.
And also, in other news, Santino Andreoli basically just lost a lot of points by DNFing, as well as Brandon Jackson as well in the BMW.
Yep, Santino Andreoli, of course, having his first mechanical failure of the season. And as a result of this, Robert Ionescu, who finished in third in the last race at Estoril, managed to, managed to cut the gap to 13 points between himself and his teammate in the championship. So it's now kind of closed up at the top, because going into Estoril, of course, it was around 29 points between first and second, but now it has been sliced down. And so far, Blake, we've currently got a streak going on in Formula E, because every race so far, we have had a different winner. We have not had a double winner so far this season. Could that change here at Aragon, or do you think that could continue?
I think if the drivers are consistent, then yes, we could have a double winner. But if there's some shenanigans going on the race, then this streak could continue. But it really depends what the race is like, really.
Indeed so. Just want to point out as well, Yui just mentioned this too as well, you may have noticed in the last few races that he's been hosting Formula E, the damage model has not really been 100%. Well, it seems that after a bit of testing just before the stream began, it seems that Yui might have found a fix, so hopefully we actually get some proper damage for these cars if anything happens during the race. So keep your fingers crossed that the 300% damage model, which is on every other series as well, works for Formula E now. Let's just hope it is anyway. But I guess we'll find out during the course of this session if there are any major crashes, of course. Maybe even in the race if there are any major crashes that happen. But anyway, right on board with the Nguyen Minh Quan, who is currently in the DS Techeetah right now then. At the moment, he's going to be going around and going to be starting his lap quite soon. Of course, 14 cars come out on the track to start off with, because to try and avoid the pit, a bit of a glitch that happens with the AI during qualifying in the pit lane. 13 cars, sorry. Well, I was one off. But anyway, same reason, really. So, anyway, it should be it should be interesting to see who's going to take pole position for what is the Teruel ePrix. And if some of you may have noticed last season, I actually called the stream name last season and put the thumbnail incorrectly. I accidentally called it the Aragon ePrix last season. It's meant to be the Teruel ePrix. But I'm not going back and changed it because, one, I can't be bothered, and two, the thumbnail that I had for last season, I don't have that template anymore, so I can't really change it. So it's staying as it is, but I think everybody knows it's the Teruel ePrix. But anyway, Quan has just started his lap, and he comes down towards the first corner now then, and now coming around turn 2, which is flat out. And of course, I might as well mention as well, whilst Quan is coming up towards the end of the first sector as well, tonight, of course, the 2022 Top Class sign-ups officially close at 10 PM BST. So if you haven't signed up yet, you need to be quick, because you've only got until, well, 10 PM BST to sign up specifically. Just over 10 hours away from the sign-ups closing, and around that time as well, the 2022 F2 sign-ups will open at the same time. So keep an eye on that one as well. But if you haven't signed up yet for the top class, you need to be quick because you've only got just over 10 hours left to sign up. So anyway, Quans does a 36.516 in the first sector as he now makes his way around the long swooping right left-hander before approaching the this next left-hander here, which is basically like a bus stop chicane really, because if you go straight on, it takes you onto the back straight. But this is technically, in a way, a bus stop chicane, but without, I guess in a way, without the Mickey Mouse effect of it really, because normally if you have bus stop chicanes, it's kind of like a Mickey Mouse section. Not this one though. It's actually quite technical, this part of the track is, before you make your way onto the long swooping straight, which is where we're expecting most of the overtaking to be done.
Yeah, and also I like to say that it's very similar to the Miami bus stop chicane, but then unlike the DTM running from last week, we're having the hairpin, which is very tight. Well, it can produce some overtaking, well, and also can produce a contact, and also Quan's been overtaken by one of the Jaguars.
Just as you said the word that people can get overtaken down there, somebody actually demonstrates it for you. Prazan overtakes Quan into the hairpin, and I bet as a result, both of their laps have been compromised as a result. Prazan, across the line he will go, and the benchmark time is going to be a 1:47.626, and you can see how much it affected Quan because he's 2.3 seconds off. Here comes Mohamed Razan in the Porsche now then as he makes his way through into the final corner. Onto the pit straight he will go, and let's see what Razan can do now then. Across the line will go the Indonesian driver, and he goes into second. He had a good outing last time out at Estoril, it's fair to say. Kulizek goes to third. Here comes Brandon Jackson, who's retired in the last 4 races. Goes into third. Here comes the championship leader, Santino Andrioli. Across the line he will go, looking to make redemption for Estoril, but he's 1.4 seconds off. Not a great lap for the championship leader. Here comes Kochi Cheong now then in the Mahindra as he now rounds the final turn, and onto the pit straight he will go. Across the line will come the Malaysian driver, and he goes into 6th position. Ionescu, meanwhile, goes fastest by 300ths of a second. Dumel goes into 5th, and it's Prach, who had a poor qualifying last time out, slots the 5th, 1.1 seconds off of Robert Ionescu there. Here comes Jacob Tobler now then. Across the line he will go in the second Mahindra, goes into 7th. Dominic Tuccelli, who has been a superstar this season in the Nissan, crosses the line, and he goes into only 11th that time by not a good lap for him. Denholm goes to 11th as well, as here comes, as they're the first ones completed, and Ionescu has been a bit of a pole king this season so far, currently at the top of the timing sheet.
Yes, indeed, and but even though Prazan overtook Quan, he's still like 30 thousandths of a second behind Ionescu, so Prazan still has some pace, but I think without that overtake, I think Prazan would have been on pole position.
Perhaps indeed, of course, he would have been impacted, of course, a little bit by Quan, of course, and Quan's lap, as you can see, got affected because he's 2.3 seconds off. Although Tuccelli is 2.2 seconds off, so it makes me wonder if he made a mistake somewhere out on the racetrack on his first lap. Maybe some more time to find yet for the Italian. But Prazan comes into the pits. Of course, the 9 drivers who are still yet to do a lap should be expected to come out, including the man who won last time out at Estoril, that being Marvo Koenig in the BMW. He'll be coming out quite soon as well, as here comes Quan, who'll be approaching the end of the garage now then, as he will be soon preparing to start his lap. And of course, I might as well mention on the topic of Formula E as well, we did get an indication of when the Formula E sign-ups will be open as well, because we know that F2 is opening tonight at 10 p.m. BST, and then next week DTM opens. Well, I can tell you that Formula E will open a few days after DTM opens, and then World Champ Car will open a few days after Formula E. In terms of the entrance series, we'll let you know as soon as possible with that one. Yui's still trying to fathom out how to approach that one, really. So he's got a bit of a system in mind, but I think he just wants to do some a little bit of maybe some alterations, basically. But once we get some news about when that opens, we'll let you know, of course. But we do know when the other 5 happen. But anyway, these 13 drivers are back in the pits. As mentioned, we are expecting the 9 drivers who haven't done a time yet to come out on track very soon. As we wait to see who's going to be next to come out onto the racetrack for what will be from the 9 people their first runs, but for 4 of the drivers who have already done a lap, it will be for their second run in qualifying, as Dumel gets wheeled back into the garage, as will his teammate Dominic Tuccelli. As mentioned, we'll wait and see who's going to be going out next onto the racetrack here at the Motorland Aragon circuit in Teruel, Spain, as Tuccelli gets wheeled back to the garage now then, and we wait to see who's going to be next on the racetrack. Ionescu currently top, Prazan in second, Razan third, Jackson fourth. Then it is Parachki in fifth, Dumel in sixth, Tobler seventh, Kulizek in eighth, with Andrioli in ninth, then Kochi Cheong in 10th. Then it is Denholm in 11th, Tuccelli 12th, and Quan in 13th. As we've got some movement now in the form of Kochung Cheong, the brother of Kochi Cheong, is now coming out onto the racetrack. I might as well mention as well that every driver now in the OC that is competing in 2021, including the entrance series drivers, have now all got a Wikipedia. Flo finally managed to find some time in the last couple of days to do everybody's Wikipedias. So everybody has now got a wiki on the OC. So if you just searched for the OC Wiki and you just search for your name basically on the Google search, it should come up. Actually, I don't really know if it will come up straight away, but you've got a page basically. In fact, if you just go onto the Formula E page or the World Champ Car page or the Entrance Series page, everybody should have a page now. So many pages in one sentence there. So anyway, anyways, Coach Cheon now then comes around the down the hill now then, as he'll be preparing to start his lap quite soon. If I'm not mistaken, he's one of the 3 drivers this season who is still yet to score a point this season. There's him, and then there's 2 other drivers, which is Sana Chue, and the other driver, who I'm going to get up right now, is Jacob Tobler, in fact. So 3 drivers still yet to score a point, but would you imagine that all 22 drivers will score a point this season, or do you think the odd one will fail to score a point this season, Blake?
I think maybe another one will fail to score a point this season. Example, Belbosh Daniel in Formula 2, he hasn't even scored a point in a couple rounds. So I mean, it could happen, but I mean, it really depends. Really,
a lot of factors really need to come into play really for everybody to score points, of course, because let's not forget we do have a Group 1, Group 2 and Group 3 system in Formula E, and for the Group 3 guys it's obviously going to be a bit harder for them to score points on a regular basis, but obviously they will give it a try when an opportunity presents itself.
Unless your name is Ross Denholm, who just got a podium, unless your name is Ross Denholm.
Yeah, that's an example I'm talking about there, taking advantage of certain situations falling into place, really. But anyway, Coach Cheon now then comes around the first corner as he's just starting his first flying lap, as he now goes flat out through turn 2 before approaching turns 3 and 4. And I have to say, I do really love this section of the track, this first sector. It's very fast, it's very flowing, no Mickey Mouse sections at all. As Coach Cheon now then will soon be approaching the end of the first sector now then, as he comes up towards the right-hander. I think the end of the first sector is just after this corner that he's approaching right now, and yes it is, as you can see from the graphic on the bottom there. Through the right-hander he goes, and let's see what his first sector time is going to be like compared to Ionescu, and he's 4/10 down, which is to be expected from a Group 3 car, if we're being totally honest. As now coming around the left-hander goes Coach Cheon now then, as he will now make his way through the left-hander now then, as he will be trying to basically avoiding the curb, but getting close to the curb as possible on the inside there. Now coming up towards the, I guess you could class this as a bust-up chicane in effect, as now coming around the right-hander he goes, a long swooping right-hander, before making his way down towards the heavy braking zones of this right-left chicane, as he'll now make his way down the long back straight where we saw earlier on. It is a good place to do some overtaking, and I think as we saw with Aji Prazan a little bit earlier on, it's probably where we're going to be seeing most of the overtakes being done in the race a little bit later on. As Coach Cheon now then makes his way down the back straight, now heading down towards the hairpin, and it'll be interesting to see where Coach Cheon emerges after this first flying lap. So through the hairpin he goes now then, as he now gets the car sorted out for this right-hander, and now into the final corner will come the young Malaysian driver. Through the final turn and onto the pit straight now then will come Coach Cheon, as he will now come across the line. Where does he go? Where does he place his Venturi? He goes into 5th. Not a bad first lap for him there. As Carpenter is currently holding up one of the BMWs there. I wonder if that's Marvo Koenig is only up. And it is, so I would not be surprised if Koenig's lap is currently being affected as a result of Carpenter in front. But Carpenter now then, the DS Cheetah driver, crosses the line and he goes into 10th position. Koenig goes into 6th, so yeah, definitely been held up there. Chue goes into 9th. Not a bad lap for her there. Here comes Jaswant Kumar, her teammate now then in the other Neo, as he now makes his way through into the final turn and onto the pit straight now then he will go, and Jaswant Kumar crosses the line now then, and he goes into 14th position. Here comes the Guan Min Kwan, who is on an improvement as he's currently 2.3 seconds off. Of course, he did get his lap compromised earlier on because of Aji Prazan, and Kwan is now going to cross the line now then, and he goes into 4th. That's a big improvement there, as it's 5th for Alex Broster. Jake Tilsley across the line goes into 7th. Here comes Leighton Aviard in the Porsche. Across the line will come the Englishman, and he goes only 20 for that lap. Michael Mocha goes into 5th. Here comes Kochi Cheong now then, who's on the improvement. Across the line he will come now then, and he goes into 7th. So we're seeing a lot of improvements on this lap, it's fair to say, from the drivers who are doing a second flying lap. Kulizek is also on improvement. Across the line comes the Czech driver, and he goes into 6th. Here comes Dennis Parachki, also on improvement. The Mercedes driver crosses the line and goes into 5th, and I think these are the runs done with, but it's still, despite all those improvements, Blake, it is still Ionescu at the top of the timing sheets.
Yes, and also I think there was a red light at Parachki's car. I think I saw.
I think that's because of fuel. That's because of fuel.
All right.
That can also appear for fuel as well, but it does briefly disappear after a few seconds. It's not because of a mechanical failure. I think all the drivers get it because it seems that they run quite tightly when it comes to the fuel in qualifying here at Aragon. But anyway, Coach Chun Cheong now then coming back into the pits, currently in 12th position. His brother currently in 9th, so 9th and 12th for the Cheong brothers at the moment. So doing a good job at the moment for their respective teams at the moment. Teruel at the back, obviously he didn't come out that time by, so we should expect him to be out on track next time out and to hopefully improve on that lap, which we believe may have been affected by a mistake. But yeah, still Ionescu at the top of the timing sheet, and the question is, can anybody stop him?
I mean, if it's a group 1 or group 2 car, then maybe. But I mean, it's like what you said. It's like you need the right circumstances to fall into place, and then he can take maximum points, maximum position.
Indeed so. As here is Carpenter now then being wheeled back into the garage in his DH Cheetah. As Carpenter now then will be preparing for his next lap, or maybe waiting in the garage, because of course only 13 cars are able to go out at a time to avoid that pit lane glitch that usually happens with these Formula E cars. And Kwan now then in the pit lane as we wait for the next set of cars to come out onto the track. And of course, as mentioned, we expect Dominic Teruel to be one of those drivers to come out as well, because he desperately needs to improve. He's currently 2.2 seconds off the pace in the Nissan E-Dams at the moment. The Italian, of course, who got a victory at Portimao, you may remember, many weeks ago. And as mentioned, they're currently having a fantastic season so far in the Group 2 Nissan, so much so that he currently lies in 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship. Specifically, he's only 24 points behind Championship leader Santino Andreoli. So obviously Dominic doing bits in that Nissan this season. Jacob Tobler now then is coming out onto the racetrack in the Mahindra, as he's currently in a 16th position. His teammate up in 9th, so far not been able to match the pace of his teammate Coach Chi Cheong at the moment, as Tobler makes his way towards the left-hander now then, as he flicks the car in through the corner now then, as we wait to see who's next to come out on track. Rafael de Mel has also come out onto the racetrack now then. So only 2 cars currently out on track here at Aragon, as Tobler makes his way through the right-hander. Now approaching down the chicane, which is downhill. Jackson also coming out on track as well, looking to improve in the BMW. Only in the 10th at the moment is Jackson, so definitely needs to improve. You would imagine that Koenig will also need to improve, because he obviously got held up on his lap, so he could have been on for an impressive lap. Prazan comes back out onto the track. He'll look to try and see if he can challenge Ionescu for pole, because of course he was the driver who got held up in effect by Nguyen Minh Quan earlier on in the session, so he'll be looking to see if he can try and find those 300s he needs to dethrone Ionescu off the top of the timing sheets. A few more cars have come out. A few more cars have also come out onto the track. As mentioned, we're expecting 13 cars to be out on the track for this run. It's coming down the hill now. Then we'll go Jacob Tobler to start his lap very soon. The Czech driver now down towards the hairpin he goes. Razin is now out onto the racetrack now. Then to the hairpin he goes.
Working. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Joe. My mic was not working the entire time, so.
Okay. As Tobler now then makes his way onto the pit straight, as Ionescu comes out on track, probably in case Prazan tries to dethrone him from pole position. As Tobler through the first corner he goes, using all the curb on the inside. Through the long swooping right-hander he goes, as he'll now make his way towards turns 3 and 4 on the racetrack. I mean, turns 4 and 5 are basically a double left-hander here. Through the left-hander, where if you remember back in 2020 in MotoGP, that's where Taka Nakagami fell off after he took pole position, but fell off on the first lap. Even though, which was a bit strange, if you ask me, but there you are. As now through into turn 7 he goes now then, as he now approaches the end of the first sector. Can he go up on his personal best? Keep an eye on the death panel on the top of your screens. And he's 3 tenths down in the first sector compared to his personal best, and 6 tenths down on Ionescu. So at the moment, this looks like it's not going to be a very good lap for Jacob Tobler at the moment, as it looks like the Czech driver is not improving at this stage, as he now makes his way through the left-hander. Now approaching the bus stop chicane now then, as he goes a little bit down the hill. It's a downhill braking zone, as he now makes his way through the left-hander. Quite quick left-hander, it's fair to say. Through the long swooping right-hander we go, as he now makes his way down towards the right-left chicane, flicking it in through the right and then through into the left, as he uses all the curb on the inside and using it all on the outside. 1.6 seconds off of Ionescu and 6 tenths off. So yeah, I think it's safe to say, Blake, this is not going to be an improvement.
Indeed, so Tobler is not going to be on a good lap at all. So yeah, but there's nothing that Tobler can do because he's in a Group 2 car. Whilst meanwhile, everyone is almost basically Premier Group 1. But I mean, it's like it's like Tobler can do the best he can do, really.
Indeed, so it's Tobler now that has come down the straight and across the line will come the Czech driver. Let's see what Tobler can do. And he does not improve. He stays in 16th position. Demel is also not on an improvement as he's currently in 14th as he now makes his way onto the pit straight. Surprisingly, Ticelli stayed in the pit, so maybe he's coming out next time by as Demel does not improve. As Jackson's on an improvement, probably he feels like he needs to. Here comes Brandon Jackson now then in the BMW. Across the line will come the British driver. Across the line goes Jackson. What can he do? He goes into fourth, so he slots just behind Mohamed Razan at this point. Prazan is not on an improvement, surprisingly enough, but this was the sector where he actually lost some time, so maybe he can get it back on this sector across the line, and no, he can't. He stays in second place. Here comes Shana Choi, who's also not on an improvement in the Neo. Through the hairpin she goes now then, as she'll now make her way through into the right-hander. And now into the final corner will come Sana Choi in the Neo now then as she makes her way down the pit straight, and across the line will come Sana Choi in the Neo. Across the line she will go, and she does not improve. Mohamed Razin crosses the line, no improvement for him. Here comes Ross Denholm now then. Across the line he will now come in the Venturi. He's on an improvement at the moment. Across the line he will go. Where can he place himself? He goes only up to 18th on that occasion. Carpenter, meanwhile, goes up to 12th. Here comes Santino Andreoli. He's on improvement. The championship leader coming across the line, who's currently down in 19th across the line, and that's more like it. He's up into 4th. Here comes Robert Ionescu, his teammate. Can he improve? Across the line? No, he can't. Says on 1 minute 47.596 as Leighton Aviard's on an improvement, and he goes only 15th that time. Koenig on an improvement. He needs to, really, because he got held up on his first flying lap as Koenig now then comes across the line. What can the Estoril winner do? And he goes only 12th on that occasion, so not the best of laps there for Marvo Koenig. As we now look at Alex Broster in the Virgin now then, as he will now make his way towards the left-hander now then, and now down the pit straight he will go. Across the line goes Alex Broster in the Virgin, and no improvement, he stays where he is at this point. So at the moment it is still Ionescu at the top of the timing sheets, and surprisingly I was expecting Prazan to improve there, Blake, but clearly not on that occasion.
Indeed, indeed so. I expected Prazan to at least get a second off, or even on a slight improvement, but no, Prazan's not on improvement at all. So he's either got held up, or either he's just failed to make any more pace on the second run.
Indeed so, as Demel gets wheeled back into the garage, and whether this was his final flying lap or whether he'll go out again to do another, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, Ticelli, surprisingly, stayed in the pit lane for the second consecutive lap, so I expect him to come out this time by, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't, really, because so far he's 2.2 seconds off, and he desperately needs to find some kind of improvement in the car, as we wait to see who's going to be next to go out onto the racetrack. And as we're looking on board with Coach Chun Cheong in the Venturi, as one of the Neos has just pulled into the pits there, and we wait to see who's going to be next to go out onto the racetrack now. Then, as the seconds tick by on the top of your screen, as the DS Cheetah of Carpenter comes into the pits, and anybody going to stream past him whilst his mechanics pull him back into the garage, we will see, of course. So far, it's Ionescu at the top with Prazan in second, Razan in third. Then it is Andreoli fourth, Jackson fifth, Kwan in sixth with Perensky seventh, Mocho in eighth, Kulazek in ninth with Broster 10th, Kochi Cheong in 11th with Koenig 12th, Tilsley in 13th, Carpenter 14th, Coach Chun Cheong in 15th with Leighton Aviard 16th, Raphael Demel 17th. Then it is Sana Choi in 18th, Jacob Tobel in 19th, followed by Ross Denholm in 20th, Jaswant Kumar in 21st, and Dominic Ticelli in 22nd and last. Of course, last time out, Carpenter, I believe, did get a time penalty for a dangerous rejoin, if I'm not mistaken, at Estoril. It was at one of the Parabolica corners where it happened. It was basically an aquaplane moment. It was basically a race that he started off with, but the way he rejoined, it landed him a time. It was either him or it was somebody else who got a time penalty. I'm not sure who it was for a dangerous rejoin. I think someone will have to remind us in the stream chat who that was, but I do remember there was somebody who got a time penalty last time out in Estoril. But I can't remember who it was. I'm pretty sure somebody will remind. But anyway, Coach Chun Cheong now then is out onto the racetrack now then, as Coach John Cheong now then makes his way towards the right-hander now then, as he flicks the car in through the right-hander, as he will now make his way towards the chicane now then. Also on track, we have Michael Mocho in the Mercedes. Jake Tilsley's out on track, as is Just Want Kumar, as Nguyen Minh Quan has just come out onto the racetrack as well. As I said, I'd be surprised if Teruel doesn't come out on this occasion. I'd be very, very surprised, as Coach John Cheon now then makes his way down towards the bus stop chicane, as he now flicks the car in through the left-hander now then, as there's actually a car not far behind him on the track at this stage. It looks like one of the Mercedes, if I'm not mistaken. And now Coach John Cheon now they're making his way through the left-hander, using all the curb on the outside there before making his way down the straight. And now making his way down the straight, and Teruel does now come out onto the racetrack. So, of course, he does need to improve, as we've only got, just under 6 minutes to go in this qualifying session. And so far, he's the only driver in this session to be over 2 seconds off the pole sitter at this point in time. As we suspected earlier, he might have made a mistake somewhere out on the racetrack.
Indeed.
They make as now Cheong now then makes his way through the final turn and onto the pit straight now then he will go, and Coach on Cheong now then he's going to start his lap in the Venturi, and he starts his lap now then, and it is one of the Mercedes that is behind. I believe that looks like Michael Mocho, I think, that's currently behind him on the racetrack, but luckily I don't think Mocho's close enough to get onto Cheong, so I don't think Mocho's lap is going to get impeded in any way by Coach Chung Cheong. As now coming towards the left-hander now then he will come, as he'll soon be approaching the end of the first sector quite soon. Will Coach Chung Cheong find any time to improve? He's currently in 15th place at the moment in the timing screens, as he now makes his way through the right-hander now. They're flicking the car in, and let's see what his first sector is like compared to Robert Ionescu and even to himself on the def panel. Let's see, and he's 2 tenths down on his personal best in the first sector.
Meanwhile,
As in fact, Mocho's actually... Are you saying, Blake?
There's Mercedes behind Koju.
That's Michael Mocho that's behind him at the moment. For a moment, I thought he was getting quite close in the braking zones there, but it looks like Coach Chung has actually got quite away a little bit coming out of the traction zones. Mocho will be hoping he doesn't get too close to the back of Coach Chung Cheong, because otherwise that will be his lap in the bin, really. And Mocho's currently in 8th position at the moment in this session. Of course, he's a man who wants to forget what happened at Estoril, because, of course, you may remember he was stuck in the gravel trap on the first lap, which in turn meant he ended up losing a lap as a result, and it was basically damage limitation from him as a result. So he'll want to forget that. Meanwhile, Coach Chung Cheong has actually found some time in the middle sector, but he's still down on his personal best. So I guess if he can keep this up, he might be able to find some time in that last sector, as Mocho will be getting a little bit of healthy slipstream from the Venturi in front. As long as he doesn't get too close to the back of him, he should be okay. As now Coach Chung Cheong now then makes his way through into the final corner and onto the pit straight now, then will come the Malaysian driver, as across the line he will go. And where can he find any improvement? No, he can't. But Mocho does, thanks to that slipstream. He goes up into 3rd. Here comes Jake Tilsley now then in the Jaguar, up on his personal best. What can he do? Across the line, and he goes into 6th. So he slots in front of Jackson. Just Want Kumar is also on an improvement. He's currently on the back row of the grid at the moment as things stand. So can he get off the back row of the grid and push Denholm onto the back row? Let's see. As now Just Want Kumar now then makes his way through into the final corner, as he makes his way onto the pit straight, and across the line will come the Indian driver. Kumar across the line, and he loses time in the last sector and doesn't improve. Kwan improves to go up into 8th. Enis Parachki is not on an improvement. He's currently in 9th, and he stays in 9th for the time being. Here comes Rafael Demel, who is on an improvement. He's currently in 17th position. The Brazilian now then making his way onto the pit straight, and across the line will come Demel. What can he do? And he goes into 7th. That's a big improvement there for him. As here comes Jacob Tobler in the Mahindra. Across the line he will go, and no improvement, stays where he is. Wojciech Kulesek also on an improvement across the line and goes into 10th, so he's just slotted himself in the top 10. Parachki now outside of that top 10. Teruel is on improvement. We expected this from him across the line, but only up into 14th. Prazan, no improvement, stays in 2nd place. As Kochi Cheong is also not on an improvement, as he now makes his way through the hairpin now, then through into the second to last corner we will go, as he will now make his way towards the final corner and onto the pit straight now. Then will come Kochi Cheong in the Mahindra. Across the line he will go now then, and he does not improve. He stays where he is. Ross Denholm, who's currently on the back row of the grid, is so far not looking at an improvement here, as Denholm across the line, no improvement, he stays where he is. And these are the runs done with, and I would imagine, given how much time there is left on the clock, Blake, I think that is going to do it. And I think as a result, Robert Ionescu is once again on pole position.
Yeah, Yes, indeed. That one run that he made at the start of the session, I thought and never thought it would turn into pole position. I never thought I thought it was just a road lap by him, but no, that was just pole position by Robert Iandescu.
Indeed so, as Coach Chon Cheong now then will be Chon Cheong now then is being wheeled back into Gowers, and yep, it has passed the 1 minute 47 mark, so we can officially confirm that Robert Ionescu is on pole position for the Teruel ePrix. It's his 4th pole of the season, and we talked about how much of a quality merchant he's been this season. He's
Yes,
once
he
again
is.
proven it, but can he convert it into the win? That's going to be the question.
Well, multiple times he hasn't converted into a win. That's the problem with Robert Iandescu. Despite being really so good on qualifying, he never gets it done on the sun. He never gets it done in the race, to be honest.
Oh, maybe it could be a change of fortunes. We'll have to wait and see. But as long as he keeps the consistency up, which he has been doing so far, and once again, he's starting in front of Andrioli, and given the gap's only 14 points in the championship, and Andrioli's starting in 5th, could be all possible, because if it were to stay like that in the race, then Ionescu would take the lead in the Drivers' Championship. And of course, thanks to his pole position, he now cuts the gap down from 14 points to 11 points now. So it's only 11 points between Andrioli and Ionescu now in the championship. The two Audi drivers really keeping it close so far in this championship. And, well, hopefully it doesn't end in disaster for the Audi pair.
Yeah, basically Robert Iandescu is just cooking on qualifying. Just to make sure he cuts down the gap to Andrioli, but also there's some other drivers in the mix as well. But then a little bit more thorough. But they need to gain some sort of advantage if they want to be in this title fight with them two.
Indeed so, as the seconds have ticked down, the checker flag is now officially out, and let's quickly go through the grid then. So Robert Ionescu on pole with Aji Prazan in 2nd, Michael Mocho in 3rd with Mohamed Razan 4th, then it is Santino Andrioli in 5th with Jake Tilsley in 6th, Rafael Demal 7th, Brandon Jackson is in 8th with Nguyen Minh Quan in 9th, with Wojciech Kulizek in 10th, and it's Parachki 11th, and you can do the rest, Blake.
Thank you. Alex Broster in P12, Koji Cheong in P13, P14 Dominic Celli, P15 Marlon Koenig, P16 Ian Carpenter, P17 is Koju Cheong, P18 is Leighton Aviard, P19 is Shanna Choi, P20 is Jacob Tobler, P21 is Ross Demholm, and P22 is the ending of Joshua Kumar.
Yep, that is the grid, and of course we now need to wait for the for Yuri to do the grid, because of course I don't know if the mistake rate is changed for Formula E. I think it is for this series, so he will have to quickly change that. So for the meantime, guys, apologies if I go a little bit silent for the moment, as I'm just going to be sorting out the tweet for Twitter. So apologies if I go a little bit silent for the moment. tweet is up, ready to go, and whilst we wait for Yuri to get the grid sorted out for the race, of course, don't make sure you stay with us, guys, because the FE race will also be on this stream as well. So don't go anywhere. But anyway, of course, it's going to be very interesting for the race. Of course, I mean that hairpin, I think, will also could cause a bit of chaos during the race, Blake. I think it's usually quite a chaos place usually at the start of races. So hopefully it's not too chaotic at the start, but you never know what could happen on that first lap.
Yeah, yes, indeed, Joe. The first lap in Formula E can always be chaotic. Can always be chaotic. AKA, oh Jesus!
What?
I think I just burned something. Oh my Christ Almighty! Technical difficulties, gentlemen. I need to do this.
Well, we can still. Oh, all right. Clearly, Blake clearly has some issues on his end. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting into that first corner as we wait to see what's going to happen. Of course, we have Robert Ionescu, who is obviously going to be on pole with Aji Prazan alongside him as well. It will be interesting to see what Michael Mosher can do at the start. Of course, he's looking for redemption after what happened at Estoril, of course, where he was punted off at the start and basically lost a lap as a result of that. So he'll be looking to see if he can redeem himself after what happened last week at Estoril. And of course, for anybody wondering, of course, this will finish before the qualifying session at Zandvoort, so don't you worry about that. Of course, we are aware that Zandvoort does start at 2 p.m. today for qualifying, but we will be finished by then, so don't worry about that. These races don't last that long. But anyway, we have got the stream back on now then, and we are ready to get on the way then. So we've got 34 laps of action here at Aragon, and for those of you who missed qualifying, this is what the grid looks like. So we'll go 4x4. It is Robert Ionescu who's once again on pole position with Aji Prazan in second. Michael Macho starts in third with Mohamed Razan in fourth position.
In P5 is the other Audi, Santina Andreoli. P6 is Jake Tilsley and Jaguar. Rafael Demel has a good qualifying in P7, and Brandon Jackson is all the way in P8.
Gurman Kwan starts in P9 with Wojtek Kulesek in 10th. Anis Parachki, a disappointing qualifier again. He starts in 11th with Alex Broster in 12th.
In P13 is Koji Cheong. In P13, Dominic DiCelli. In P14, he's mixed around. Byron Koenig have really put poor qualifying for him. In P16 is Ian Carpenter in the DS Tita.
Chon Cheong starts in 17th with Leighton Ariard in 18th. Then it is Sana Choi in 19th with Jacob Tobalu in 20th. And on the back row of the grid, Blake.
It's Ross Denholm and YS Kumar.
Yes. Yep, that's how the grid looks. And for some reason, the stream has ended on our side. I don't know if Yuri's made a mistake or something. Have you made a mistake, Yuri? Because we can't see the stream.
Hello?
Yuri? He's not really relayed us any information. I wonder if he's forgotten to change the mistake rate again. Because there's nothing on the screen. Right, well, bear with us, guys. We'll get Grand Prix 4 back up. So, yeah, a bit confusing what's going on here. So, it's basically something popped up on Yuri's computer which crashed the game, really. So, apologies for that. We'll get the game back up. So, yeah, but anyway, it will be the same grid. Don't worry about that. So, yeah, we will wait for the game to reload. So, let's just bear with, guys, and we'll get the game back up as soon as possible. Just stay patient. We're not going anywhere. And so we wait and see. And so obviously, again, Ionescu starting on pole with Prazan in second place, and we will get we'll get the stream hopefully back up quite soon as we wait for the race to get underway. Of course, just a little bit of a technical problem at the moment.
On now.
I Blake, I didn't catch that.
I said that the stream is back on now.
No, the stream was always on. It's just that. Oh, okay.
No,
Well, we
no,
haven't got it.
no. The stream on YouTube is working now.
All right. Anyway, but we've already been through the grid, so there's no need to go through it again. And there's no rain expected for the race. I don't think that's really much of a surprise given whereabouts we are
We're in a
Europe,
desert.
of course, yeah, it's basically in a deserty area. But anyway, let's get on with it then, shall we? Because we already wasted enough time as it is with the technical problems as we are getting ready for the 38 lap, I think it's or 34 lap. I think
34.
34, that's it. It was one of the two numbers. But anyway, as we're now on the grid then, getting ready for the Teruel ePrix. Ionescu on the left of your screens. It's Prazan on the right. Who's going to get the lead into the first corner as we wait for the 5 red lights to go off to signify the start of the Teruel ePrix here at Motorland Aragon. 2 lights on, 3 lights, 4 lights, and now we have 5 lights on your screens. We are underway here for the Teruel ePrix, and who's going to get the lead into the first corner to make the way down towards his left-hander. It looks like the front two have got away quite well indeed, but it looks like Prazan might have had a better start than Ionescu. Going down into the first corner, has Prazan got the lead? No, Ionescu's going to hang it around the outside. A great start from Mocho, who's also done the same thing. Mocho up into second place in the Mercedes. A great start for him in the Mercedes now as he's trying to follow Ionescu through around the long sweeping right hand as we go. It seems that everybody has kept it clean so far into the first few turns, but it is Ionescu who leads from Mocho in second place, followed by Prazan in third, and that looks like Razan in fourth position. But a great start for Michael Mocho, Blake.
Yes, indeed. He wants to make some ground after he had a catastrophic come in race last time out in Lisbon. Let's see if Michael Mocho is going to go for it. No, he stayed behind. I got a little bit too excited. I thought he was going to go for the overtake there. God.
Ionescu already going for the defensive move there straight away, feeling some pressure from Mocho as he seems to be gathered some damage towards the back. Looks like Kochi Chion has sustained some damage. Though I was wrong. There was Kochi Chion who suffered from some damage. Now, was that because he made contact, or was it because he made a mistake into the first corner? Let's see.
I think he want to hit one of Mercedes. No, he got hit behind.
It was contact from behind. It's also Koenig's got damage as well, so his bad luck has returned. Marvo Koenig with bad luck again after the win he got. The damage model clearly works indeed because finally Yuri was able to fix it, and it's also damage for Carpenter as well. So 3 cars with damage on the first lap of the race, so they're going to have to return to the pit to get repairs done.
I want to see what causes a chain reaction.
And well, that is obviously going to be a 2-stop race as a result of that. Now, was it Carpenter that caused that, or was it somebody else? Let's see. And it was Carpenter.
No.
It was Carpenter that started it, and well, he's obviously paid the price as well because he's also got some damage as well. So 3 cars already having to return back to the pits as a result.
I mean,
he's got a bit of
Carpenter's going to go back into the pits, which is not a loss. But anyways, Michael Mocho is very close to Robbie Ionescu.
You say that, but he's got Prazan all over the back of him. I would argue that Prazan's closer to Mocho than what Mocho is to Ionescu. But all 3 of them are quite close together as they now make their way out of the bus stop chicane, as we call it, as they now come onto the back straight for the first time today. This is where we're going to see most of the overtakes, I would presume, being done today. Was Mocho going to get a run on Ionescu? And is Prazan going to get a run on Mocho? Let's see. Mocho's got a run on Ionescu. He's in the slipstream. He's going to look to the inside. Meanwhile, Andrioli is on the inside of Razan coming down this straight. Can Mocho take the lead? Down into the hairpin. Side by side go Ionescu and Mocho. Down into the hairpin we go. Is Mocho going to grab the lead from Ionescu down the inside? And he's got the lead. Mocho
it's 3 wide!
Is Prazan also going to follow through as well? And he doesn't. So Ionescu is going to hold on, but Mocho takes the lead of the Teruel ePrix, and Andrioli has grabbed 4 from Razan there, and now Andrioli wants a piece of Prazan. As a result, can Andrioli grab 3rd place? He's going to look to the inside straight away. Prazan doesn't think about defending it. Is he got the move done into the first corner? Mocho with an early fastest lap down the inside, and that's P3 for Andrioli. Both Audis now onto the podium.
Good. Now I hope they don't fight with each other. Otherwise, the team boss of Audi will be slamming their head on the table. But at the moment, there's a massive field spread at the moment. But Prazan is still on the back of Andrioli, so he can come back for round 2. But meanwhile, the other back, one of the Porsche is actually still keeping up with them. But then he's going to get overtaken. Which is
the damage drivers are now in the pits as we speak right now, as you can see on the mini map on your screens. So the 3 drivers who sustained damage on the first lap, the 4 drivers, I should say, that sustained damage. It's actually 4 drivers. I do apologise. But anyway, as we now look towards Prazan, he's still caught onto the back of Andrioli. Is he going to try and maybe go for a run down towards the beginning of the bus stop? Let's see. Is he going to try and retake 3rd here? He's going to look to the inside. Is he going to get the move stick? Andrioli doesn't pull up too much of a fight, maybe realising that he probably could get him back on the back straight, and Prazan retakes takes third with ease there. So back up to third place goes Aji Prazan in the Jaguar, but he's lost now ground to the top 2 as a result.
Well, meanwhile, Razan has actually got some decent pace in the Porsche. He's actually could be overtaken Santini and Andirelli if he wants to.
As now they go down the straight, as he now comes.
Your mic's just cutting out, Joe. Hello? And never mind, I guess I have to take this for a while. Razan is just trying to find a way to get past the Audi for a while, but still, there is no way to get past. Well, meanwhile, Brandon Jackson's going down the inside and overtook. So, oh, that's so close. That's a close one between one of the versions behind the cut of time, the Tatita. So this is a very chaotic start, and looks like I'm the only survivor left. But meanwhile, Demel is going to go down the inside of Razan in the Porsche Turn 1. Can Demel do it? But Razan around. I mean, they collided into each other, and that's the end of Razan and Demel's races. That's just terrible from that's a terrible move by Demel. He shouldn't have done it in the first place. But you know, I mean, he's very overly aggressive, Razan really. But wow, and Joe's mic's still dead. Wait, what's going on? Oh my god, I'm an absolute idiot. Wait. Joe, hello? Joe? Wait, what's wrong with the audio? Wait. And then there's the contact between Razan and Demel. Check it. Oh yeah, there's something wrong with Joseph's Discord. I'm very sorry about that one. I thought I was going insane there. But there's Juan, and he got hit by the tire on the front wing. That's bad luck by Juan, but he's going to keep getting advantage by the 2 versions behind him. Yeah, but Robert Ionescu is just trying to find a way. Well, meanwhile, the 2 versions are very close to each other between Kulisek and Roster. So Kulisek is still trying to find a way to get past Roster. And then there's Kulisek trying to find a way through the bus stop chicane. Oh, he's going to go for it. Kulisek, all very close to his teammate. That's very close there. But meanwhile, it's getting some tow behind the car behind, and there's going down the back straight. Most of the drivers. There's Brandon Jackson getting the slipstream on his British compatriot Tate Tillersley. And here's Jake Tillersley just still trying to defend from the outside. And then there's Brandon Jackson. He's got the overlap on Jake Tillersley, but Tillersley's still level on him. And then it's go down the inside goes Jackson into the hairpin. That's an easy move by the Brit in the BMW. And behind is a very close contact as there's still yellow flags at turn 1. And then there's still going with cars at the hairpin. Looks like Joe's right. Aragon is his favourite track in Spain. Well, we're not going to talk about Barcelona, otherwise he'll go on a rant for it for hours on end. But meanwhile, there's the Mahindra of Toba just trying to get past Ross Denholm, but he does not find the move down the inside. So Ross Denholm's still trying to get past Sir Troy, but there's the Mahindra behind him, so most likely he's gonna lose a couple seconds to the car behind. And also, I'm so sorry, chat, that I'm so sorry, chat. This is just technical difficulties. Meanwhile, Prazan is actually on the back of Robert Ionescu. Robert Ionescu, very close to the Romanian gets a switching now. Here comes Prazan trying to go around the outside, but sends in the dummy. But can he go down the inside at the bus stop chicane? Very close. Prazan still sucks behind, but Sanjay Andirelli still trying to find a way to crash Prazan, but he went on for the wrong move at the wrong time. So at the moment, Macho is still leading with Robert Ionescu in second. Third is Prazan. Fourth is Santini Andirelli. And I presume his fifth is definitely not Razan. But meanwhile, definitely not, is Brandon Jackson. And is Prazan trying to get past the Audi of Robert Ionescu. Robert Ionescu defends the inside, but Prazan's going for it down the inside of Robert Ionescu. Oh, that's so wide from Brazil, and it almost cuts to Robert Ionescu as well. That's very close from the Indonesian, but Santini Andrioli is just trying to find his way around the outside. But he couldn't get past him and trying Santini Andrioli, still trying to find a way to get past the Jaguar. But meanwhile, on the scene is Brandon Jackson. And going down the inside, Brandon Jackson sets the fastest lap as well. Andrioli doesn't find a way to get past. But meanwhile, as I said before, Brandon Jackson is right on the scene of the crime scene of Brandon Jackson trying to get Andrioli and Present. And also, I want to know what happened to Joe. Has he just gone offline or? Oh my Christ! What's going on? This is just a nightmare scenario for me.
So while Joe is gone for, I don't know why, I think he might either have something that came up, or maybe he has
I
an
think there's
internet
something
issue.
definitely.
But yeah, I'm going to be here as the second commentator for the while, unless he gets back. I'll show you. I'm
I think
echoing
there's
from
something
you.
wrong
I'm
with my
actually
audio.
going to cancel the
I'll
commentary
join
if the
back.
echo continues. So yeah. Anyway, let's keep going with the race. Andrioli chasing Jackson. What's going on?
Oh, there we go. I thought I lost you for a second. It was the audio blocking out.
Yeah,
so,
but I'm echoing from you.
I can hear you.
Okay, now it looks fine, or sounds fine.
Yes, sounds fine. Being back, there's I'm trying to get past so Troy down the inside into the hairpin. And it's the Scotsman forcing Troy on the outside, and that was going to move like Ross Denholm, but being behind, there's there's a Nissan behind one of the Virgins. It's no, that's not a Nissan. That's a Mercedes.
The Mercedes and the Nissan do look quite similar. Oh, here's a move, and Tovola hits Troy, but no damage done.
Tovola got very lucky with that.
And Ionescu has got the gap up to Prosan as Jackson and Andrioli were fighting with each other, and Mozzo has now a 3.3 second lead.
He's just pulling away from everyone else whilst they're fighting.
Yeah, the clean air helping him while the others are fighting behind.
I think Joe's back.
Yeah, somebody decided to accidentally switch my internet off, so that's why I went off. Yeah, so somebody in my household got the switches mixed up. That's what happens when you put a lamp next to the internet cable. So maybe move the lamp somewhere else. Anyway, what have I missed since the internet decided to die?
You missed that. You missed the battle between a massive gaggle of cars into a hairpin, and Razan took out Zamel.
Any penalties?
No. Yeah. Oi! That's very wide by Karachi. Oh, please don't tell me it's happened again to Joe. Brandon Jackson is still trying to find a slipstream, and he's done it again!
Try again, as my internet's still having to reconnect after it got switched off. But yeah, so no penalties then involved.
No penalties.
Okay, fair enough. Well, anyway, I am back now, hopefully. Unless somebody decides to accidentally switch it off again. So, anyway, 3.2 seconds now, the gap between Mocho and Ionescu. How many cars are we down now, then, as a result of them retirements? Blake, how many cars are we down to?
Around 20. I'm bringing around 20. because Razan and Demel took each other out.
Okay, so there was no further return. Okay, fair enough. So 20 cars left in the running then. So anyway, now we've got that out of the way. We can see that we've got Aji Prazan, in third, and he's currently closing down Robert Ionescu at the moment, and it looks like these two are going to be starting to battle quite soon.
Very, very soon indeed. Prazan's got the slipstream in under 1 second, so Prazan could go for a move, but meanwhile there is a battle behind between Jake Tillotson and one of the Virgin cars.
Yeah, indeed. As we now look at Robert Ionescu, who's making his way down towards the hairpin now then. As now they come down towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Looks like Aji Prazan may have had a little bit of better traction there compared to Robert Ionescu. He's making the way through to the final turn and onto the pit straight now then as Mocho starts lap 8 of 34. The pit stops we should expect probably after lap 20, I would say, judging from the fact that there was around 22 laps. Meanwhile, towards the back, we can see Coach Chun Cheong now then having a battle with Owen Carpenter down towards the left-hander. There's contact there. Bit of contact there, but luckily no harm done, and both of them keep their positions while one does because Kwan has taken 19th. Looked to try and find a way through on Coach Chun Cheong there, but it didn't work out. A bit aggressive there from Carpenter.
Yeah. Ian Carpenter never learns because he always tries to go for an aggressive move that never works. I don't understand why he's trying to go for them. He should be more patient, but you know, he's just doing what he's doing.
Meanwhile, now then, as we can see, this freeway battle still happening right now. As Kwan now then looking to the inside of Coach Chun Cheong now then down towards the hairpin. Is Kwan going to get the move done on the Malaysian driver? Coach Chun Cheong doesn't put up too much of a defense. Is Kwan even close enough to go for a move? He thinks about.
Oh no!
There, and there's a crash as a result, and Coach Chun Cheong is out of the race, and it looks like Kwan was a little bit too over aggressive there.
Yeah, and also Kwan should have backed out of it when he got to a hairpin, but you can say again, I mean, I call that racing instinct because Coach.
I blame more Kwan on that one, to be honest with you. I don't think that is a racing incident. He was nowhere alongside him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one to decide if it's either to say if it's racing instinct because I mean coaches could have gone more wider, but then again, there's Kwan just going down the inside like there's just no way that Kwan could make the corner. So I would say that I think it could have been yeah. Yeah, it's a racing incident converted by Yuri itself.
Right, okay. Well, I would blame more on Kwan on that, but it's obviously Yuri's decision. But either way, Kwan has got damage as a result, so he is going to have to come into the pits either way. So I guess in a way it has punished him as a result. So we've now got yellow flags down the heavens. Whoa, Ionescu's gone a bit wide there going into the corner. Was there contact there between him and Prazan? Let's see.
Most likely.
So look, on the inside we go as they now make their way towards the left-hander. And yes,
you're very lucky.
And did Jackson take full advantage? He did, so he's now up into third position. Ionescu lucky not to lose a place there as a result.
Or even just his part of his car for that matter. He got very lucky with that hit.
Indeed, as they now make their way down the straight, Jackson now they're going to try and line up Ionescu for a move down into the hairpin. Can he get alongside? Unlike Kwan, he is alongside Ionescu on this occasion, and I think this is going to be an easy move for Jackson, but he's got a yellow flag coming up. So, can he get it done before the yellow flag zone? They're in the yellow flag zone now, and I think he hasn't done it. No, it still says P3 in the yellow flag zone, so I'm afraid...
5 second time penalty for Brandon Jackson.
That is a 5 second time penalty for Brandon Jackson as a result. And I was about to say that, but you didn't need to butt in. But anyway, and now so it's a 5 second time penalty for Jackson as the yellow flags have cleared. Ironically, just as they came out of the hairpin there, as now on the inside goes Prazan on Ionescu down the inside into turn 1, but Ionescu holds on, and now it's brought Andrioli into the fight again. Andrioli looking around the outside of Prazan, but it's not going to work out.
Yeah, Brandon Jackson should have backed out, but due to the GP4 AI, they decided to go for a move that is under the yellow flag. So Brandon Jackson's now basically basically just down in P5. So that's very unlucky by Brandon Jackson. But I mean, he shouldn't have gone for the move in the first place, really.
Indeed, as we know, as Jackson is now starting to pull away now from Ionescu. Well, he needs to really, because in order for him to get second place, he needs to build a 5-second cushion on Ionescu as a result. But Ionescu, I think, has got Prazan to worry about. Although, having said that, he's now pulled a gap on in. I think Prazan has got Andrioli more to worry about behind.
Indeed so, but Robert Ionescu is just trying to catch up, but yeah, he's a little bit more far back than expected, but he's more far back. Okay, I'm just gonna end it on there.
Yep, as now they come out of the bus stop chicane, as they now make their way down the straight, as there is Macho now then, who's still got quite a comfortable lead, up to 5 seconds between himself and Brandon Jackson. I'll be fascinated to see if Jackson's lapping quicker than Macho, or whether Macho is still lapping quicker than him.
I think Jackson set the fastest lap of the race whilst you're gone, so Jackson's definitely got the pace.
Yep, as now Macho makes his way through the final turn and onto the pit straight now, then he will go, as now he's going to start lap 10 of 34 here at Teruel, as in around, I would say around about 8 laps time, we should see him make his mandatory pit stop, as Jackson sets another fastest lap. So as you were talking about him with the fastest lap, he set another one now, 1:49.309, so currently holding on to the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race. But currently in the actual order, he's currently well, I think he's actually down in 5th at the moment, because the guys behind Ionescu are quite close, because obviously as well, if you only just joined us, Jackson does have a 5-second time penalty for overtaking under wave yellow flags. So obviously Jackson's still got to keep pushing if he wants to maintain that second place. But the gap now down to 5.0 seconds. So in fact, Jackson actually took 4 attempts out of Macho on that sector. And now he's taking another 5 attempts out of him in the second sector, because it's now down to 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, Jackson is definitely literally taking time out of Macho, but meanwhile Macho is just getting his own personal best in the first sector. But there's Aviard. Ooh, you don't go there.
No, he thought about a move on Kulizek there, but it didn't quite work out. Maybe he's waiting for the bus stop chicane to make the move, because it is possible on Grand Prix 4 to make a move here. Let's see, is Aviard going to try and move on Kulizek into the chicane? And for some reason, we've cut away from that battle, but now we haven't. Danny inside goes Aviard. Kulizek doesn't put up too much of a fight, and Aviard, easy and done, goes up into 9th position. So that's P9 for the Englishman, as now we've got a battle for 4th going on just behind Macho there. That is Andrioli on the back of Prazan. Can he get 4th place off the Indonesian driver? He's going to go to the inside. Can Andrioli pull the move off? He's side by side with the Indonesian. He's just alongside him, so at least it's not going to be like Kwan, that is for sure. Down the inside, into the corner, leaves the break in late and gets up into 4th. Or is he going a bit deep? Is he going to try and get it back, Prazan? Side by side they go. But Andrioli gets it stopped in time, and up into 4th place goes the championship leader.
Andrioli's trying to maximize out the corner, and he almost hit Kwan. And also there's another fastest lap from Brandon Jackson, and also there's a car going slowly before, at the exit of the chicane. Or am I just seeing things?
I think you were just seeing things there.
Yeah, how about? Yeah.
The corner. So, anyways, Macho continues to lead, but the gap now down to 3.6 seconds. It's clear that Jackson is definitely the fastest guy out there, and we also mentioned as well, Jackson is also looking for redemption as well, Blake, because he hasn't finished the race since Mexico City. He is determined to get himself back in the title fight in the second half of the season. I mean, let's not forget, he was leading at Lisbon, probably should have won that race, and yet again, mechanical failure struck.
Yeah, and also that's concern for electrics on a Formula 1 car, especially for BMW. But we don't talk about that because this is Formula E. So I think Brandon Jackson could have easily won that race, but Curly had other ideas, and his electric and also his electric battery decided to go boom boom.
His powertrain decided to go kaput. Meanwhile, it looks like Andrioli is actually now starting to gain on his nearest rival, Robert Ionescu, at the moment. The 2 Audis may be starting to go into combat quite soon, but I think Ionescu's still got enough to keep Andrioli on the straight for the meantime, unless Andrioli can get some good traction out of here, which he might.
I think he has.
I think he has, in fact, so Andrioli might actually try and go for an overtake on Ionescu. Clearly no team orders at Audi. It's very clear there. Andrioli now then in the slipstream of Ionescu. He's going to go to the inside. Can he get the move done on his teammate now then? He's right alongside his Romanian teammate Danny inside, and that's P3 for the Frenchman. Up into 3rd place goes Santino Andrioli.
Yes, that's an easy move by Santino Andrioli. And that's an easy move by him. But meanwhile, Prazan is on the back of Robert Ionescu, getting the slipstream into T1. pulls up to the inside. Can Robert Ionescu defend for Prazan? There's the Jaguar for Prazan. Get it down the inside. Goes Prazan. Very close. Yeah, Robert Ionescu keeps his position. Robert Ionescu still
Now here
keeps.
comes Broster now. Lynn is trying to look around the outside of Prazan, but can't quite get the move done. He thought about it, tries to have a go into turn 3, but not going to quite work out there. But I can now tell you now, because the gap is 7.1 between Jackson and Andrioli. Jackson is now officially up into second with his penalty, and now look, he's only 2.2 seconds behind Michael Mocho. Make that now 1.6 seconds now, so he's taking 6 tenths out of him in that sector. Jackson is definitely the fastest guy on the circuit at the moment.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So Jackson is still pounding his way through despite having that 5-second time penalty. So Jackson is still determined. Could he actually win this race despite having a 5-second time penalty? I mean, who knows?
It's not out of the realms of possibility. People have done that before in the past across series in the OC. So who knows really? If he keeps lapping the way he's going, it could be possible. But we'll have to, of course, wait and see as Andrioli now starts to create a bit of a gap between himself and Robert Ionescu. Meanwhile, just behind, Prazan maybe having to start to defend from Broster soon. Meanwhile, we've got a battle going on here. This is going to get quite tight as, it looks like that's Kulisek who's gone wide there. And Che and who was that who just overtook Denholm that said, thank you very much, we'll take those positions from you. Bit of an error there. Meanwhile, Broster now on the inside of Adi Prazan now. As they go side by side down towards the hairpin. Is Broster going to get the move done on the Indonesian driver? Down the inside goes the Virgin Racing driver, and that's an easy move done with Broster.
Oh, let's go wide! Ooh, that's close. Broster almost went very wide there. But then, here's arriving on the scene, once again, Brandon Jackson.
Yep, as they now make their way through into the first few turns. Jackson now right on the gearbox of Michael Mocho now. Then
and also, Joe, I just realised, I think Brandon Jackson's got more fuel despite yeah, he's got more fuel than
one lap more fuel. One lap more, yeah, he's got 1 lap more than what Mocho has. So he's definitely really pushing hard on this occasion. He's got a bit more to burn, really. And he needs to, really, because obviously, as we mentioned, he's got that 5-second time penalty. But now, look, right, he's basically pushing him around that corner, really. He's really giving him, in fact, he's trying to look to the inside there, but Mocho already having to cover the inside, going through into the right-left chicane. I think Jackson might try and line up a move, perhaps, down into the bus stop straight away. He might not even need to wait for the back straight. Let's see now, then. He's right in the gearbox now of Mocho. He might pull to the inside straight away. He's on the slipstream of Mocho. He's going to go to the inside, and Mocho doesn't put up a fight. He clearly thinks that Jackson's a better driver, probably also realising as well he's got the penalty, and Jackson is through into the lead.
Indeed, but Mocho could have a slipstream on the back straight unless he gets a really good exit out to the bus stop chicane. 3Ds, 2 technical section left and right. He doesn't get a good traction. So for a moment, for now, Brandon Jackson still is in the lead of the Teruel ePrix.
Something's gone off, and Prix has spun off as well at the chicane. So something has happened between those two, and clearly it was contact between the pair.
Yeah, let's have a look. So Prix should have. Oh dear! Oh, it's got launched. But thankfully, no damage for Jake Tillersley. That was a scary moment for him.
He's very lucky there not to sustain damage. As through there went Aviard. As we wait for the drivers to as Paratsky now will have to do all that hard work again, and he's only really got himself to blame there. He's got damage as a result. So that's going to be his race in the bin, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's just it's like Paratsky's just done the same thing as Mocho last race. He just put his race in the bin.
And you can see that Mocho's car there, that Paratsky, of course, does have to pit. But the gap now, 1.2 seconds. Of course, Mocho's still the official leader, let's not forget, because Jackson does have the 5-second time penalty. And I should point out as well, in fact, I might be wrong here, in fact. No, in fact, I'm correct. It looks like Andrioli's actually starting to gain on Mocho, in fact. So maybe at this stage of the race, Mocho may be starting to drop off a bit of pace at the moment. As I think Blake has disappeared there. So anyway, as now we look at Brandon Jackson now then. Let's see what the gap is like at the end of Sector 1 now then. It is now up to 1.5 seconds. So he really, of course, he needs to push to build up that 5-second cushion he needs to be able to take the lead officially in this race. So through the left-hander now then we will go. And so now coming down towards the bus stop chicane.
Yeah.
Now, as Andreoli, I thought for a moment there he had a bit of understeer, but that was clearly I was just seeing things there. Prachki now back in the pit to get repaired, and the gap now down to 6.5 seconds. I was just saying before your mic decided to cut off there, or if he had to go and went for something, but it looks like Andreoli is now starting to gain on Mocho. It seems that on this part of the race, Mocho's starting to drop back a little bit in terms of pace.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's just conserving his size until the next pit stop. Well, who knows?
The gap up to 3.8 between the two Audi drivers, meanwhile, but it's down to 6.3 between Mocho and Andreoli. Meanwhile, Broster's starting to get close to the back of Robert Ionescu, but I don't think he's close enough to mount a move on this occasion. And I think the answer to that is no, and even Ionescu goes defensive just in case anything does happen there. So nothing's going to happen. So Broster's just going to have to hang back for the moment, maybe try and get him maybe into turn 1 or maybe even into the chicane. I'm not sure. But anyway, as now we come towards the final corner and onto the pitch straight we go. We look back at Mocho now. There's a gap now up to 2.5 seconds, so 2.5 more, and Jackson will be officially in the lead of the race. As now coming around turn 3 we go, and gap down to 6.2 between Mocho and Andreoli at this stage of the race. To the left-hander we go as they now make their way towards the end of the first sector. Quite soon now then, as we look at Ionescu now then, who's got Broster and even Prajan all over the back of him at this point. Clearly Ionescu is struggling on this stint. I bet he can't wait to ditch these tyres he's on and go again. He's obviously got, I think, a little bit more fuel than what Broster has got at the moment. As Broster, just like what we saw with Jackson a little bit earlier on with Mocho basically just pushing him around the corner, really, and maybe could line up for a move. Although, having said that, Ionescu put him in a bit of an awkward position there for him to chicane, and now it's put Broster under attack from Prazan as a result, although Broster is still within the slipstream of Ionescu, but I think as a result, he's not close enough to go for a move on Ionescu down at the bus stop, and Ionescu even defending just in case, but I think he's not close enough anyway, as they all still remain single file going through into the bus stop. Prazan thought about trying to get Broster there on traction, didn't work out, has to back off a little bit just to avoid himself crackering into the back of Alex Broster now. Then through into the last part of the bus stop chicane we go for the right, and then into the left-hander now, and they make their way onto the back straight, and I'm not sure if he's close enough on that occasion to get him either. The gap 3.6 seconds now between the top two, so only 1.4 seconds Jackson needs to find to now officially take the lead of the race as he now makes his way through the final turn. I would expect him to pit maybe in around 3 laps time, so I think we'll start seeing the mandatory pit stop starting around about lap 18. Meanwhile, Denholm trying to get the final points place on Shiner Choi as Brandon Jackson sets another fastest lap of 1 minute 49.113. As we now look at Denholm, he's on the inside of Choi. Can he get the move done down the inside? He's trying to dive it down the inside of the Neo driver. He's trying to get it done. They go side by side out of the corner. Side by side they go, and Choi is just going to hold on. It was worth an attempt, but Denholm just couldn't successfully get the move done, and Choi for the moment holds on to 10th place.
Yeah, Ross Denholm didn't get enough overlap on Choi, but I mean, at least he tried, but he can go around for another round into turn 1, bus stop, or even the back straight. But for now, Brandon Jackson is almost, I think, it's around 4 seconds ahead of Mocho.
4.4
yes,
seconds.
So I think another round, another straight on 2. I think we're officially in the lead of the race.
If he keeps this up, of course, Xavier trying to dive it down the inside of Prazan's out of the race. It's a water leak. It says on his wheel it's a water leak. And Aji Prazan is going to be out of the race. He hasn't got the pit icon on his DAF panel. And Prazan, who was battling with Ionescu and Broster, is going to be out of the race. So there's now smoke pouring out the back.
His engine, his battery's just gone cheerio.
His powertrain has decided to go kaput, and I wonder when he's going to start pulling off the side of the track, because his car is still running at the moment, but it has given Broster, as a result, a bit of breathing space, thanks to Prazan's powertrain deciding to go kaput. Well, part of his powertrain decided to go kaput, and, well, that's going to be race over for Aji Prazan. Such a shame, really. Started on the front row of the grid, was looking good for another solid points finish, and he's going to pull off here, look, I think, because I think it's died. So Prazan out of the race. What a shame, really. He was looking so good for some points, but race over for the Indonesian driver. Now that puts Denholm into the points, and now fighting for 9th place with Choi. As I'll be careful with that wheel, because the wheel has actually got onto the track. But it looks like it's just going to clear the racing line. So luckily, no harm done there then. Meanwhile, Tobler is trying to get onto the final points place. He's also one of the drivers who's yet to score a point, along with Choi and Coach Chung Cheon. Of course, Coach Chung Cheon's not going to get any points because he's out of the race. But Tobler might. He's down the inside of Denholm, and that's P10 for the Czech driver. So he's now into the points.
Yeah, good move by Tobler, but Let's have a look at the gap. And also, I think Brandon Jackson's he's officially in first place because he's 5.2 seconds ahead of Mocho.
So Jackson now officially into the lead of the race. Meanwhile, the gap between Mocho and Andrioli is now down to 5.1 seconds. As unseen by the cameras, Broster has got Ionescu. Broster is up into fourth position. He's past Ionescu somewhere on the racetrack, and Broster is up into fourth.
Question. I have one second question. What are the British drivers cooking today? What are they cooking?
Well, clearly something's cooking on the back of Aji's car, that's for sure. Maybe you could... Maybe the heat is getting to him, of course, because it is. We are in quite a humid place of Europe, of course. We're in the Iberian region of Europe, specifically here in Spain. So there's now 18 cars left as a result of Prazan's retirement, as Kwan has officially now passed him as a result. It's, now we look at Mocho, who's just making his way through the chicane. The gap down to 4.7 seconds. So Andrioli really starting to eat that gap now between himself and Mocho at the moment. Let's see what it's like at the end of this sector now then. And the gap is now, let's have a look. As it is 4.4 seconds, so he's taken another 3 tenths out of him in that second sector. So yeah, Andrioli definitely catching up towards the pit stop stages.
Indeed.
Now coming through the hairpin now, then we go as they now make their way through the right-hander. As Andrioli doing his best to try and close up. Jackson has started lap 18 of a 34. He's not pitting just yet, so I would imagine the next lap is when he's going to make his mandatory pit stop. So I think we'll be seeing them at around lap 19. So now around the long swooping right-hander we go. As in fact, Jackson's coming up to some traffic. I would imagine that is Kwan, of course, because of course there were some drivers that took damage earlier on, and it is Kwan. So Jackson coming up soon to lap Nguyen Min Kwan.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think. I'll be waiting. What did you say again? Because I was thinking something.
Oh, he's about to lap Kwan. That was all I was just saying there. In fact, we've got the scheduled pit stop. Tobler is in from 10th position. So Jacob Tobler, who was in the points, is now into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. So they have now officially got underway. And let's see how quick the stop is going to be from the Mahindra guys.
Let's have a look at on the tyres. Got more electricity in, and Tobler has done a 6.6, so that's the benchmark for every single team to beat. And Brandon Jackson's not coming into the pits, and Brandon Jackson, he's pulling away from everybody here. He's even catching a Kwan, sorry. I got mixed up. Oh no. I think Joe's power just went off again, and he's back on again. In, out, shake it all about. Joe's going in and out, sorry.
Don't get us copyrighted, Blake.
Yeah.
But this time it was my Discord, not my internet on that occasion.
Right.
But anyway, as Mocho now then he's coming into the pits this lap.
I think he's just trying to do it on the car on Brandon Jackson. I mean, I think that's the least that Mercedes can do on Brandon Jackson. Brandon Jackson is just absolutely flying. And I think Joe's Discord crashed again. Hello?
My Discord again. Anyway, it's sorted now. Anyway, Mocho has just finished his pit stop. As they now make their way down the straight. As Jackson now, he's actually coming in this lap, in fact. So Brandon Jackson, I was right earlier on. He is pitting on lap 19. Mocho, meanwhile, he's going to come out in just in front of Tilsley. So he's going to emerge in 5th position. He actually has got some clear air in front, in fact.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, but Jake Tilsley could easily overtake David overtake Mercedes if he wants to, because he needs to warm up his tyres. Michael Watcher, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. As now we look at Tilsley now, then he's on the back of Mocho, but I would imagine with Mocho's fresher tyres, he's going to pull away. As now Jackson is coming into the pits. He has actually just lapped Nguyen Min Kwan, which I was talking about a little bit earlier on. As Jackson coming down the straight now then. Andrioli will take the lead temporarily in the race because he's not pitting on this lap. I think Ionescu's pitting though, so I think that's why.
No, he's not.
No, Ionescu is not pitting.
No, he's not.
So I don't think either Audi is pitting as a result. Broster's coming into the pits though in the Virgin, so the guy who's currently splitting the two Audis at this point will be pitting. But Jackson, of course, is coming into the pits this lap as he'll now go to the final corner and into the pits he goes.
And there's Brandon Jackson coming into the pits now, just getting past the A style sign, which is definitely family friendly sign. And here's Brandon Jackson coming into the pits now. Let's see what BMW can do.
Yep, and Jackson's now in. And let's see how quick the stop is going to be then for the BMW driver. Of course, he's got that
6.9.
Don't forget, 6.9 seconds the stop is for Brandon Jackson. And let's see where Jackson is going to emerge then after this pit stop. Broster, meanwhile, as mentioned, is just coming to the pits now then for Virgin Racing. Let's see where Jackson will emerge.
Mocho will be behind Jackson.
Yep, but too far away. Jackson rejoins in third and quite comfortably in front. So at the moment, it is an Audi 1-2, but it won't last for long because Ionescu is coming into the pits this lap. It's Troy got no, it's not a problem. I do apologise. I did what you did earlier on in qualifying, which is get fooled by that red light. It's
and also, I think Joe just destroyed everyone's ears. So sorry, everyone. I said that I think so. Troy has actually done pretty well despite being on a slow car. And also, she's going into the pits as well as Ionescu.
Yep, as Sana Choi will be coming into the pits this lap. As now we look at Jackson, who should assume the lead once the two Audis come into the pits. And you can see how much he was pulling away throughout the stint because it's only 4.6 seconds between himself and the man who took pole position, Robert Ionescu. So Jackson has really been flying in this race as he now approaches the end of the bus stop chicane. As he'll now flip the car in for the right and then through into the left-hander now then he will go. And in front of him, of course, he's actually just not that far now behind Ionescu. The gap now down to 3.7 seconds between the pair of them now then. As I would imagine that Andrioli will pit either next lap or the lap after, judging by how much he's got left in the tank. As he's now coming around the final turn to start lap 21 of 34 here at Motorland Aragon. As Andrioli is now coming down the pit straight. Is he pitting on the lap? Well, we won't know, of course. Meanwhile, Ticelli having to fend off a bit from Koenig. But meanwhile, Ionescu is coming to the pits and he's now in. So Robert Ionescu into the pits for Audi.
And it's a free position for Jackson. Let's see what's cooking Audi in the pit stop. So let's see what time we get.
Yep,
I think like the latter cars will get less fuel, but there was Robbie. 6.4. That's a nice stop.
Yep, 17 laps. I think you should be expected really, because how many laps you go along for, the shorter the pit stop will be. Sana Choi is now into the pits for Neo as expected. She's currently fighting in the points along with Jacob Tobler as well. Both of them looking for their first points finish. Of course, we expected Choi to get points a few races ago. You remember back at the Atlanta ePrix before she had mechanical failures after her pit stop. She'll be hoping that's not the case this time. As now Choi finishes off her pit stop at 6.7 second stop, 3 times slower than Ionescu's stop that time by. As Koichi Cheong is now in the pits. Choi now then rejoins. She's going to rejoin in it looks like 11th position, just behind Ticelli, who has pitted, of course. I think there's still a few cars in front that's still yet to pit. Koenig is pitting again this lap as Koichi Cheong finishes his pit stop. Carpenter is in the pits now. Andrioli is not pitting this lap. He's going to be pitting on the next lap, I think. So he's just staying out one extra lap before he makes his way into the pits. Of course, let's not forget, he was closing up onto Mocho before the pit stop, and he's going to have fresher tyres compared to Mocho towards the end. So maybe that battle for second place could get quite tense towards the end, Blake.
Yeah, or even just Mocho could have, rather that Mocho just go inside the 5, could go inside 5 seconds and instantly just take Brandon Jackson's win away if he wants to, but he needs to get on with it if he wants to try.
Now coming out of the hairpin then goes Brandon Jackson through into the second to last corner, and now into the final corner will come Jackson as Andrioli has started the next lap, and he should be pitting in this lap as he started lap 22 of the race. And Jackson with another fast lap. He's now broken to the 1 minute 48s now. 1 minute 48.698 for Brandon Jackson as Mocho will be crossing the line now then. 2.4 seconds between himself and Tilsley. I think obviously Tilsley has made his pit stop, hasn't he? So Mocho luckily came out just in front of him there, and who knows, maybe could drag Tilsley into it. Meanwhile, we're looking at is this who is this? Looking at Koenig.
Oh, no, it's happened again.
Because
It's
Koenig is
Ross
still in the race.
Mover.
Koenig is still in the race, and he's coming into the pits this lap. Kulizek has now finished his pit stop, so that's what we call in the OC a bump and run there from Jacob Tobler. Not wasting any time there as he's looking to try and get his first ever points in the OC. And as expected, yeah, I was correct. Andrioli is pitting this lap, as Marvo Koenig should now be in the pits, which he is. So the German is in. Another disastrous race for him after winning last time out at Estoril. The bad luck has returned for him, and now Choi has found herself back in the points as a result of some people coming into the pits, including Kulizek. I think Kumar still needs to pit, so we should expect him to pit quite soon. And also Andrioli, who's in front of Jackson as well. Through into the chicane now, then goes Brandon Jackson, as in front Santino Andrioli, who's actually coming down towards the hairpin. He's pitting on this lap, so we're seeing him peeling off to the left very soon now then, as Andrioli and he comes down towards the hairpin, flicking the car in through the left-hander. And now coming towards the final two turns on the racetrack, through the right and then into the left-hander comes Andrioli, as now into the pits will come the Frenchman. It will be interesting to see where he rejoins in relation to Michael Mocho.
Indeed, unless Audi cock up the pit stop.
Yes, as now Andrioli is now into the pits now then, as he puts on a fresh set of tyres and fuel. So let's see where Andrioli is going to emerge after this pit stop. Now, this 5.6 second stop, a very quick stop from the Audi mechanics. Of course, Jackson retakes the lead as a result and will have over 5 seconds ahead of everybody else. But where does Andrioli come out in relation to Mocho? That's what I'm very keen on. In fact, Mocho, I think, has just crossed the line. And Andrioli, I think he might actually come out. No, where's Tilsley as well? Because he was not far from this either. And in fact,
he's got a problem!
No, he hasn't.
No. Oh, yeah, it's got mixed up again.
Yeah, he actually turns out he did need to pit again. I do apologise. I thought I saw him pit earlier, but clearly not. Anyway.
And also, I thought Jake Tilsley had a problem, and I thought Jake Tilsley had a problem, but he's just coming into the pits. So, another mistake.
Yep, as now Tobler is now back into the points as a result of Kumar, I think, now in the pits. And look at this, Choi now all over the back of Dominic DiCelli, and Kumar being serviced as well, that being Choi's teammate. And Choi wants more points either. She's not settling for just 2 points or 1 point. She wants more. She wants as many as she can get in this race.
She wants to get as much points as possible if she wants to stay in GP4, obviously.
Yes, as now Andrioli is now right on the back of Mocho after that pit stop. So he came out just in between Mocho and Tilsley, which was crucial. Of course, Tilsley coming into the pits this lap, so luckily for him, he didn't get held up. So now we've got this fight for second going on. And of course, Andrioli has got fresher tyres on.
Yeah, and also that will help Andrioli pretty much in the championship as well, because he's ahead of Robert Ionescu. And also you see Robert Ionescu at the back of there. Try. Be careful! No!
Contact's been made, and it wasn't quite a bumper run there. Where's Tobler? Tobler takes full advantage and gets up tonight. He could get 8th here, unlike what we've seen from others.
What a move by Tobler! What a move!
It's 2 places in 1 for Tobler, and now look, it's brought more cars into the fight for the points. It's brought in Kulizek, and it's also brought in, who's that behind Kulizek? It's Ross Denholm, who's also trying to fight for some points. The man who, of course, got a podium at Miami, let's not forget, a few races ago. As now, Danny inside goes Choi again on DiCelli now. Then can she get the move done as Tilsley's now in the pits? Choi on the inside of DiCelli. Can she get the move done into the hairpin? Side by side they go, and she's on the inside. Can she get the traction out on the exit now? Then or can DiCelli hold on? He has that. DiCelli holds on for the moment, but Choi is still right on the gearbox of the Italian now. Then through the final turn we go. Choi now then in the slipstream of DiCelli. Can she get it? Can he get him down? Can she get him down to the first corner? DiCelli trying to defend the inside into the first corner. Can Choi get later on the break? She's trying to. Danny inside the first corner, not going to work out, as Tilsley meanwhile rejoins in front of this lot quite comfortably into 7th. As a result of this, Tobler gets away from this group. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for second place now then happening between Mocho and Andrioli. Andrioli now right on the back of Mocho. He's going to look to the inside. Mocho doesn't put up a defence. He clearly feels that Andrioli is the quicker car on the inside, and Andrioli takes second with ease. As I think Blake has actually disappeared for the moment. So, anyway, as now they make their way out of the bus stop chicane now, then flicking it in through the right and now into the left-hander we go now then, as Andrioli you would expect to pull away at this point. I don't think Mocho is close enough to try and get him back, so Andrioli up into second place. Now with these tyres and within 10 laps, I wonder what his pace will be like compared to Brandon Jackson. I think it's going to be too much of an ass to try and get him to get that gap to below 5 seconds, but you never know, of course. Meanwhile, Choi now on the inside of the Chelly. Is she finally going to get the move done after being aggressive on the previous lap? And this time she gets the move done. Up into 9th place goes Shauna Choi, but now she'll want to try and get back after Tobler and see if she can get those 4 points back.
Indeed, but meanwhile Brandon Jackson is still ahead from the raging Frenchman, which is 17 Angelli, but he's around 16 seconds behind Jackson.
So
Yeah.
he's going to need a bit of he's going to need a miracle to try and get that under 5 seconds. I know he's got more fresher tyres than Jackson, but that's still a huge gap for him to try and bring down. As Trey's gone wide as Trey's been bumped off the track. And there's a bit of a collision behind. There's a crash. It's Kulisek. I think he's been run into the back of by DeCelli, it looks like, I think. So Kulisek is in a moment. Let's see what happened here.
Yeah, so I could ask DeCelli, what is he doing?
He obviously bumped Trey off the track there. Luckily, Trey got out of harm's way, and I don't know if that was a dangerous I don't know if you count that as a dangerous rejoin or whether that was just a car doing that. I think that's going to be a tough call to make on that one. It's not like last week with I think it was Carpenter. I think last week at Estrel where that was clear and decisive. This one I think is going to be a little bit harder to judge.
25-second time penalty for DeCelli.
Yep, so on that occasion, they felt that he was in control of the car at that point. So it's a 25-second time penalty for DeCelli and a new front wing needed. And did Koenig get ahead before the yellow flags came out? I'll be very fascinated with that one. Yes, he did. He's very lucky, I think. Yes, he's very lucky indeed. Very, very lucky is Koenig there. And also who got damaged. Denholm also got damaged from that as well. So it wasn't just DeCelli, it was Denholm. He ran into the back of all that carnage as well. So 2 drivers in the pits to get their damage repaired. So who does that now put into the points? Obviously, Trey's in the point. It now puts Kochi
Kochi's in the points
after all that, but look who he's got chasing him down. It's the BMW of Marvo Koenig, and I would imagine he's going to be lapping quicker than Kochi in front. So I think it's going to be a bit of a task for him to keep back a BMW, that's for sure. But I'd imagine he's going to give it a good go.
Yes, indeed. But there's the lifeless car of Wojciech Kulisek, and there's It feels like more spread out. There's just there's less things to commentate on, really.
We'll always find something to commentate on. I hope the Marshal actually gets him towards the barrier and not try and get him onto the opposite side of the track, because that will be a bit dangerous, because where the car is parked is actually quite awkward. But anyway, Ionescu around the hairpin he goes, as Kwan is now into the pits, obviously for his second stop, because as you remember early on, he had to pit for damage, so second stop needed for him. As Ionescu currently lying in 5th position, and looks like he's starting to lose a bit of time now to Kulisek, and thankfully the Marshal has got that car turned around, so he is now pointing him towards the barrier, so no issues there whatsoever. Tobler into the hairpin he goes now then, currently looking comfortable in 8th position. The gap between him and Tosley, 6 seconds. I think Tosley's just pulling away a bit. I think you would imagine that Tobler is now trying to start to get into a rhythm, but at the moment a double points finish at the moment for Mahindra, providing that Kochi can hold him from Koenig, that is.
Yeah, and also it's a good day in the office for most of the tier 3 cars, except for unless your name is Venturi. Well, except for Venturi, the lower tier 3 cars actually did a pretty good day in the office, Joe.
Indeed so. They've actually done pretty decent today. 3.1 seconds now, the gap between Koenig and Kochi Chion. So, yeah, it's definitely clear that Koenig is gaining, because I think it was 4 seconds last time by. So, yeah, he's definitely gaining on Kochi. So, Kochi is going to have a bit of a task to try and hold on to that 10th place and ensure a double points finish for Mahindra. But as I said earlier, he'll give it a damn good go, that's for sure, once Koenig gets onto the back of him. As we look at Broster now then, who's currently 4.1 second there in Ionescu. I think Ionescu is now just settling into the rhythm and just trying to get the points as best he can. Going into this, of course, because obviously he got pole, the gap was 11 points between himself and Andrioli, with Andrioli up into 2nd place at the moment, and Ionescu currently in 5th place at the moment. The gap will actually go up to 19 points if it were to stay like this at the moment, because neither of them have got bonus points at the moment. So at the moment, of course, Jackson is holding on to the fastest lap bonus points at this point in time. So he's currently holding on to those 2 bonus points at the moment. Gap now down to 2.9 seconds now between Kochi Cheong and Marvo Koenig now then, as Koenig tries everything he can to try and slice the gap between himself and the Mahindra in front, as the marshals are still attempting to clear Kulizek's car from the hairpin now then. So through out of the bus stop chicane now then will go Koenig, as he continues to try and hunt down the gap between himself and the final points place now then, trying to make up after what happened to him earlier on in the race, where he sustained damage on the first lap of the race, and now making his way down towards the hairpin now then he will go. And the L is still out there at the moment. And 2.4 seconds now the gap between himself and Kochi Cheong at the end of the second sector there. Out of the hairpin he goes. Let's see what the gap will be like this time by when they cross the line. Through the second to last corner. And now into the final corner now then we will go. And let's see what the gap between the pair of them is going to look like on this occasion. 17.3 seconds now the gap between Jackson and Andrea. So even though Andreoli has got fresher tyres, he's losing time to Jackson. So Jackson really lapping quickly the gap down to 2.3 seconds. So Koenig only getting a 10th out of Kochi on that occasion from Sector 2 to Sector 3. So he's still gaining, but not really much on that sector. But I would imagine within the next few laps, he's going to be right on him right now then, as the game decides to do something funny there with the car. Gets it underneath the track, basically. But anyway, enough of looking at Kulizek for the moment, as meanwhile this is some traffic that people are going to negotiate. Out goes Aviard! Aviard out of the race is a mechanical failure for Leighton Aviard, and he was running in the points. So points have gone down the toilet for Leighton Aviard, and what is the issue for him? As Jackson sets another fastest lap of the race, what is the issue for Aviard? It is a loose wheel. A loose wheel.
Oh no!
He was running in 6th position, and that is 8 points down the drain. But that now puts Marvo Koenig back into the points as a result.
Oh, no, that I just felt pain after. It's like I just felt pain. Like after he worked so much, he's actually in a good position, and then that just snaps on him. That's just heartbreaking, really.
He's pulled off just before the bus stop chicane, and that is race over for the Porsche driver. That is points down the toilet, and as a result, it's given Koenig a points paying position again. So now the battle between him and Kochi Cheong is now going to be for 9th place as a result, instead of the final points place, as we look at Jackson, as Kulizek's car is still being worked on at the moment. I don't know why the auto camera is still being obsessed with him at the moment, but there we are. But anyway, the gap 17.9 seconds between the top 2 at the moment. And in fact, you could explain the reason why Andreoli might be losing some board time is because of the fact that he's still stuck in traffic at the moment. So it's not really helping him out at this point in time. As meanwhile, the gap is now 3.2 seconds between Tobler and Choi. So it seems that Choi is starting to lap quicker than Tobler, but whether she's got enough laps left to get by, I'm not sure. So she's only got, what? Let's have a look. About 6 laps in which to get him. So she's going to have to get her foot down if she wants to get 6 championship points in the bag. Meanwhile, we're looking through the rest of the order. The moment there is Jackson currently in the lead, as Andreoli finally now laps Kwan. He's been stuck behind him for a while, and the gap has increased as a result to 18.3 seconds. As we look at Ionescu now, then he's 5.1 now behind Alex Broster at the moment. And I wish the autocam would not be so obsessed with Kulizek. But anyway, we now look at Koenig now then, who's now got the gap down to 1.8 seconds now between himself and Kochi Cheong now then, in the battle for what is now 9th position. And now making his way towards the left-hander now then, flicking the car in through the left. It was Jaswant Kumar now then, who's not far away, but I think he's a little bit too far back to get hold of that final points place. As we now look at... let's look back now then to this battle for what could be 9th place very soon. The gap now down to 1.4 seconds. So Koenig has nearly got it under a second now between the pair of them. As now we look at Ross Denholm, who's now right on the back of Dominic Ticelli. Of course, on the track he's battling with him. But let's not forget, Ticelli, of course, is the one with the 25-second time penalty for what happened at the hairpin. So bear in mind of that one then. So Ticelli has a 25-second time penalty, and of course Jackson, of course, has a 5-second time penalty, but of course that's not going to affect him at the moment because he's got an 18-second cushion over Santino Andreoli at the front. Meanwhile, Denholm looking to the inside of Dominic Ticelli. Can he get the move done on track? He was going to get him officially anyway, but he's going to get it done on track anyway, and he gets up into 14th on the road. So making sure he gets it legitimately rather than getting a penalty, rather than via a turn penalty that Ticelli is going to get at the end of the race. So that's that really. As a result of Aviard's retirement, we're now down to 16 runners as a result. And I wonder what's going on as the yellows are now finally cleared for Wojtek. So I wonder what's now going on in that battle for ninth between Kochi Cheong and Marvo Koenig. I wonder if it's getting quite close now then in that battle for ninth position. Last time we checked, it was 1.4 seconds. Has Koenig been able to get it below a second? Let's have a look on the next slide now then. And no, it's still 1.3 at the moment. So he's not got it to under a second just yet in that battle for ninth position. So obviously something to get on. Meanwhile, Chui is now only 2.5 seconds behind Jacob Tobler now then. So she's actually gaining. So she could actually get hold of Tobler towards the end of the race. So not over yet in the battle between Tobler and Chui at this stage of the race, Blake.
Yeah. Indeed. So Troy and Tobler could be found out until the very last lap. So yeah. Yeah.
Yep, so we now look at Michael Mocho now then, who in fact, Broster is only 2.9 seconds behind him at the moment. And I wonder if Broster is actually starting to lap quicker than Mocho. That's something I'll be interested to see. As we've got 5 laps to go here at the Teruel ePrix. Thankfully, this race will finish before the Dutch Grand Prix qualifying session that gets underway in 25 minutes. So don't worry about that. It will not cross over into that. As the gap, let's see what the gap is now. It's now down to 2.6 seconds. So yeah, I'd say that Broster is lapping quicker than Mocho at this stage. Whether he's gaining enough on him to try and maybe grab that final podium place off the Mercedes is going to be a question.
Yeah, that's just going to be a massive question. For Broster, if he really, that's a massive question for Broster. If he's actually going to catch him, because only like 5 laps to go, really.
So as the gap now between Andrioli and Mocho, I think is still increasing, isn't it? Yeah, it's now up to over 8 seconds. What is going on in that battle for ninth place, though? That's what I want to wonder. Because last time we checked, it was 1.3 seconds. Koenig has still not been able to get Kochi Cheong yet in that fight for ninth position. And I don't know whereabouts they are on the circuit. I think they might have just passed. Have they just passed turn 1 or have they just passed somewhere else? I'm not sure.
I think I just passed turn 1.
Anyway, so Jackson now then coming down towards the hairpin. He'll be starting lap 31 of 34 here at the Teruel ePrix. So the gap now down to 2.2 seconds between Mocho and Broster now then in the fight for third position. And what is it going to come down to now? It's now down to 1.7. So I think the fight for third place is well and truly on. And no reaction there from Blake whatsoever. So anyway, as we now go down towards the hairpin now then. As let's see what the gap is going to be like this time by 4 laps to go for Brandon Jackson in the BMW now then. As I don't know what's going on in the battle for ninth. We haven't really seen that battle for quite a while, it seems. So I guess the camera's not interested in that fight for ninth. So anyway, we now come up towards the right-hander. As he actually misses the curb on the exit there, on the entrance there, but it's not going to matter too much anyway. He can basically just cruise the line really, and he'll probably get the victory as long as it's 5 seconds.
I think he can just. I think he can just most likely just left and coast, maybe just just left and coasting to make sure he's just going to left and coast for the rest of the lap, basically.
Rest of the 3 laps, you'd have to say, is Ionescu made a little bit of an error going through into the first corner there. Koenig's still not been able to get Kochi at the moment. Let's see what the gap is like now. It's under a second now between Kochi Cheong and Marvo Koenig with 4 laps to go. So Koenig is starting to get onto the back, and Chui is actually not far behind Tobler either. So Chui is actually starting to get close to the gearbox now of Jacob Tobler in the fight for 7th place. As the gap is, what is it now? It's actually still remaining the same, in fact. So I wonder if Koenig has actually pushed his tyres a bit too hard to try and get a hold of Kochi Cheong. I wonder, but I think Chui is actually now on the back of Tobler, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I saw. So I think that's what I saw anyway in the battle for 7th place at the moment in this race. And yes, she is. She's actually quite close now. So the gap is now 0.8 seconds between Tobler and Chui now. Then Chui definitely wanting more points in this race. She is not set. She's trying to get as many as she can, because you never know how many chances you're going to get this season. 3 laps to go for race leader Brandon Jackson.
Indeed, whilst her Choi is just slowly gaining on Tobler, but she's going to gain more time because she's got the slipstream on the Czech driver.
As now they make their way through the long sweeping right-hander now then. Let's see if Chui is able to get within the slipstream range of Tobler. It depends on how she hooks up this last chicane, and she's hooking it up quite well, in fact, quite getting close to the gearbox. So I wonder if she's going to actually go for an attempt down the back straight. Let's see if she's close enough. I think it's a little bit 50-50 in terms of whether she's close enough or not. I don't think she is. So I think she is going to have to hang back for the moment and maybe try again on the next lap. But Koenig is close, meanwhile, to the back of Kochi Cheong. So this battle for ninth is going on as now Koenig, can he get the move done on Kochi, or is he too far back? Let's see. Down the back straight we go. Down towards the headwind we go. Is Koenig going to get the move done on Kochi Cheong? Cheong is actually defending the inside line. And Koenig as the... Oh, contact there! That might be a bump and run.
Oh, no!
Bump and run. And Koenig up into ninth place. That is a bump and run. And Koenig is up into ninth place.
Well, thankfully, Kochi. Thankfully, Kochi. Oh! Thankfully, I was about to say, thankfully, Kochi didn't pick up any damage, and he stayed in the points.
So up into ninth place goes Marva Koenig in the BMW as the battle for 7th looks like it's still continuing on between Tobler and Chui now. Then as Chui tried to have a look on the inside in turn 1, but it didn't work. But now this battle for 7th is ruining on between the two Group 3 cars, one in the Mahindra and one in the Neo now. Then through the right-hander we go as they make their way out of Sector 1 now. Then heading down towards the downhill chicane now. Then we'll go the pair of them now then. Through towards the right and left-hander we go. So flicking it in through the left-hander as Jackson has started the penultimate lap of the race here at Aragon now. Then through the long swooping left-hander we go now then. And is Trey going to go for a move down into the bus stop chicane? Let's see. She's going to look to the inside. Is Tobler thinking about defending? No, he's not. Choi on the inside. Surely this is the move done for Shana Trey. Down the inside, and she's got the move done. Up into 7th place goes the Neo driver.
That's a good overtake by Troy. So she's definitely going to get 7th place, and Brandon Jackson dominated the entire race despite starting from a lower position.
Meanwhile, the gap is 0.7 seconds between Mocho and Broster. So Broster is now right behind Mocho in the fight for 3rd. There he is. He's right behind him. He maybe, if he can keep this up, maybe even try and go for a move either at the bus stop or maybe even down the back straight. Let's see. But the podium is on for Broster.
Indeed.
To the left-hander now, then we go now. Then as they will now be approaching the end of the first sector now. Then approaching the right-hander we go now. Then can Broster get the move done on Michael Mocho? Through the right-hander then goes the Virgin driver using all the curb on the inside there. Mocho deciding not to use any of the curb on the inside, but he's right with him. And I think his first chance is going to be at the bus stop chicane now. Then through the right we go. Now through into the left. Broster right on the gearbox of Michael Mocho. Can he get the podium pace off the Mercedes driver now? Then through the left-hander we go. Can Broster get the move done as they now make their way onto the straight? Can he get the move done? He's looking to the inside. Mocho doesn't think about defending it. Broster on the inside, so surely this should be an easy move for the Virgin driver, and it is. Broster onto the podium places.
Good move by Broster. Big move by Broster. Mocho cannot fight the raging Brit in the Virgin. But then here's Brandon Jackson ready to start his final lap of the race.
Indeed, Brandon Jackson on his final lap of the race, and what a race it has been for Brandon Jackson. A dominant race indeed. Even with the 5-second time penalty, he's still going to win the race because he's got nearly a 20-second lead over Santino Andreoli. It's just been a dominant performance and similar. And basically a performance that we saw at Sao Paulo. Although that race wasn't dominant, he showed some brilliant pace in that race. And he's yet again showing that pace. But we've seen this pace before anyway. We saw it at Estoril. He was fast. But let's not forget, in the last 4 races, he has retired from them. He hasn't finished a race since Mexico City, where he finished in 2nd place after just missing out on the victory to Robert Ionesco. But as long as nothing happens on his final lap, it looks like his jinx is finally going to come to an end. His street jinx is going to come to an end here at Aragon. And he's going to take his 2nd victory of the season, and as a result become the first double winner of 2021. It's been brilliant for him. Meanwhile, Carpenter is taking 11th place from Parachki, unseen by the cameras, but he's not going to get any points today, I don't think. But meanwhile, here comes Jackson, who's just coming around the bus stop chicane for the final time now. Then he's just negotiating now towards the last part of the chicane, through the right and now through the left, and he's now just got the back straight and the final 3 corners to negotiate before he is home. Down the back straight he goes for the the final time. The gap 19.6 seconds. It did go down to 18 for a brief period, but now Jackson was able to respond on this lap and being able to pull the gap again a bit more between himself and Andreoli. Andreoli, of course, is going to increase his lead at the top of the championship as a result, but Jackson, it's fair to say, he's finally going to get some good luck he's been waiting for quite a while as he now negotiates the hairpin through the final two corners for the 34th and final time, and a dominant performance from the BMW driver. His retirement streak is coming to an end because for the second time this season, Brandon Jackson is going to win here at the Teruel ePrix here at Aragon. He becomes the first double winner of the season, and finally, good luck is on Brandon Jackson's side. Santino Andreoli is going to cross the line in second place to increase his lead at the top in the championship. So P2 going the way of Santino Andreoli. I think he will be satisfied with that. Just did not have the pace of Jackson. And just to confirm, Jackson is officially the winner. Despite that 5-second time penalty, he will stay where he is. And I think Ducelli is going to stay in 15th, actually, because Kwan is actually crossing the line now then. So I think Ducelli will remain in 15th because he's not a lap down. Broster is going to cross the line in 3rd. Gets a podium. Well done to him. Macho in 4th. Ionescu, disappointing for him in 5th. He was hoping for the victory, but just no pace again today and loses some points to Andreoli as a result. Tilsley is going to cross the line in 6th to pick up some points for Jaguar as he now rounds the final turn. And Tilsley is going to cross the line in 6th position. So some good points there again for him. Meanwhile, just behind there, she is Sana Choi, and along with Jacob Tobler, they're finally going to pick up their first points of the season. So it will mean that Coach Chun Cheon will be the only driver left that is yet to score a point this season. So Sana Choi crosses the line in 7th, a brilliant result for her in the Neo. P7 for her, P8 for Jacob Tobler, great result for him as well. Marvo Koenig recovers to 9th, so P9 going the way of the BMW. Coach Cheong is going to pick up points in 10th, so double points for Mahindra as a result. A good day in the office for them. Owen Carpenter is going to cross the line in 11th position in the DS Cheetah as he now makes his way onto the straight, and Carpenter is going to cross the line in 11th position. Parachki, another disappointing race for him. He's going to cross the line in 12th. He's really been struggling in these last couple of races. Kumar 13th, Denholm in 14th. Tucelli will stay in 15th despite his 25-second time penalty due to Kwan being a lap down. But there you have it then. Brandon Jackson is the winner of the Teruel ePrix, and he is the first double winner of 2021, and finally he gets some good luck on his side. So here are the final results then. Brandon Jackson winning the race with Santino Andreoli in 2nd, Alex Broster 3rd, with Michael Mocho in 4th, Robert Ionescu in 5th, with Jake Tilsley 6th, Sana Choi finishes in 7th, with Jacob Tobel at 8th, Marvo Koenig in 9th, with Kochi Jion completing the points in 10th, Owen Carpenter is in 11th, and you can do the rest.
Thank you very much. Ellis Kratsky in P12, Joshua Kumar in P13, P14, Ross Denholm, P15, Owen Ducelli, Nguyen Kwan in P16. The cars we lost today was Leighton Aviard, Roger Kulisek, Prazan, Jiong, Razan, and Dumel, all DNF'd.
And the fastest lap of the race, no surprise, went to Brandon Jackson with a 1 minute 14.643.
And also Joe,
Wait. And Jackson, as a result, will pick up the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race, so 27 points going the way of Jackson. You were saying, Blake.
And also, I was about to say, BMW has won 2 races in a row.
So it's 2 wins in a row for BMW. As a result of Koenig winning Estriol last week, and now Jackson winning here at Teruel. Well, there you have it then. That has been it from the Teruel ePrix. A very exciting race indeed. And finally, Brandon Jackson getting some good luck. Of course, we're not done with live streams for today because tonight at 7 p.m. BST, we of course have the DTM race over in Portimao. So look forward to that one. Of course, don't forget tonight at 10 p.m. BST, the sign-ups for the 2022 Top Class season will officially close with the 2022 F2 sign-ups opening at the same time. And of course, don't forget tomorrow as well. We of course have the 2022 provisional calendar reveal as well, taking place at 7 p.m. BST, and we also have the highlights today as well at 6 p.m. BST for Silverstone. So look forward to that. The next Formula E race will be in 2 weeks' time at the fictional Uberno Ficticio circuit in Italy for the running of the Uberno ePrix, because of course next week World Champ Car is in action at Spa-Francorchamps. So look forward to that. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97. He's been Blake Moore, and we will see you next time. Till then, take care.
Goodbye.